Hey guys, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast pregame show divisional round. Our Buffalo Bills have made it to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and we are heading to Mile High to that 5,200 some odd feet in Denver to take on the Denver Broncos, who were the number one seed in the NFL, coming off a extra week of rest. And we're here to talk about it. We're going to break it all down, look at the matchup, break down the offense team comparison, defense team comparison, talk about injuries, give our predictions, and then we'll go around the rest of the league as well and look at the rest of the the rest of the matches and then the rest of the potentials for who might make it to the championship weekend next weekend. So with that, I am Mike, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill, and two more games to go, Sean. Two more games to go. How are we feeling?
One game at a time. I've been saying it for the last half a season, just one game at a time. Um, I feel a little bit better going into this week as far as what the Bills can bring to the table, but with all the injuries that have been piling up, that has me kind of concerned as well too. I think though that if the Bills can come out and attack Denver with their run game, I think we have a pretty legitimate shot at being able to advance.
Yeah, let's start with injuries because we got obviously some good news and I think some bad news, right? So let's start with the bad. Obviously, Hairston's probably still out. Poyer likely going to be out. Um, and then we lost Gabe Davis, we lost Shavers in the game as well. So not ideal as far as that goes. But and then obviously we'll quickly say, Damar Hamlin, Ed Oliver, and Curtis Samuel all designated to return. It's unlikely that Oliver is going to play. It's unlikely that Hamlin is going to play. I'm seeing a lot of reports that Curtis Samuel is probably going to play, which is good. And they obviously brought Mecole Hardman back as well. So I think well, let's talk, give me your opinion on the injuries, and then I'll go into why I think it might not be a bad thing.
I think the biggest thing out of the injury report is that the Bills got hit in the one spot they really couldn't afford to be hit, which is the wide receiver room. I mean, we've been talking about it all season that that room is lacking in talent. And when you look at the fact that now they're down Gabe Davis, who they had to bring in off the practice squad anyway, and Tyrell Shavers, who's been huge in the blocking game. That's a pretty big loss out there on the field. Um, I'm really hoping that if Samuel does play, he comes out and shows us why he's being paid as much as he is. Like this would be the perfect time to put up or shut up by Curtis Samuel. And I don't know. I don't understand how our injury list can be as gigantic as it is.
Well, I mean, we talked about it at length about the Gabe Davis thing. That was just I'm still of the mind that that was a dirty hit, and I don't
Yep.
love that happened. I think and Shavers that we don't even actually know when he got injured. It looked like it was much earlier in the game than it actually was reported, and he seemed like he might have played on a torn ACL for a good chunk of that game, which to me is crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like the level of toughness to do that is incredible. But what I wanted to get into first, and I wanted to get your thoughts, is I think that this might not necessarily be a bad thing. And the reason I say that is because it's going to force the Bills to play to their strengths a little bit. And Jacksonville, as we know, was one of like the best rush defenses like in the league, right? And it was reported heavily that it's going to be tough for James Cook, and we saw that it was tough for James Cook. I mean, not even over 50 rushing yards, not a ton of attempts, and while Allen didn't have to put on the cape, I mean, he had to make some big plays, right? And we got a little lucky. I mean, let's be honest, right? Lawrence falls on that fourth down, and they don't end up going up 14-3 right there. Um, and interceptions are half luck and, half skill, right? So like he made a bad play on that pick that kind of sealed the game as well. But we also got unlucky too on that nonsense kick return as well, right?
Yeah.
That we coughed it up, that Davis coughed it up. So, luck is going to be a part of it. So I don't want to like really get into that too much. But my point is, it I think it goes to our strengths a little bit because Denver's rush defense is not as good as Jacksonville's. So I think, that will allow us to play James Cook more. But also, all of our tight ends are healthy, and that's our
Yep.
strength, right? Throwing to tight ends is our strength, and I expect a big game out of Kincaid and Knox. I do. I expect a big game out of both of them, and I would not be surprised if one or both of them gets into the end zone this week. And I feel good about, the game plan going into it because you're going to be playing to your strengths, which is, all of these things, right? And I think it's going to help us. And it's harder to prepare for that than it is to prepare for wide receivers, right? And it might be a bonus because they might not take our wide receivers very seriously, which could allow them to to play a bit better. And I mean, if Surtain, who is probably the best corner in the league, is going to be shadowing either Curtis Samuel or I don't know, who else?
Keon
Who else?
Coleman.
Yeah, or Keon Coleman, right? I mean, they're not going to put him in the slot, so I don't think he's going to
Nope.
be. I don't think he's going to cover either one of those guys. So I mean, like, what are we looking at here, right? So I'm not super worried if you're going to put Sertan on Coleman or Samuel, you know.
So
So I don't know, but what do you think about that?
So on the offensive side of the ball, I was thinking about it while I was working today, and I wrote down three things as to what the Bills on the offensive side need to do. I think get Cook running is the big one. If you can get him out there quick and strong, get picking up yardage right off the bat, I think that's huge. My number two is you already said it, is getting the tight ends involved. You have Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, two of probably one of the best tandems of tight ends in the league. And it's one of the things I haven't understood with the Buffalo Bills over the last couple of years of why they didn't game plan more to use them in heavier sets. You know what I mean? Like you have these two guys that you're paying a ton of money to be top tier. Why aren't you using them like they are? So I think they need to get them involved. And then my number three is the fact that, like you just mentioned, Surtain is probably the best corner in the league. You know where you're not going to see him? On the Bills' best receiver, Khalil Shakir, because Shakir plays the slot. Shakir needs to have a big game. You're muted.
Sorry, and I agree, right? And I feel really good about the matchup. Sorry, my dogs were barking, so I had to keep it muted for a second while I yelled at them because I'm a good dog parent. But with that being said, I think that makes a lot of sense, right? And I think it's a good matchup for the Bills, and we saw this the last time we played them, right? Like we played them in the playoffs last week. They went up 7-0, and then we blew them off the field, right? Like, and we know it was in Buffalo, but we blew them off the field. And let's get into the matchup a little bit, and let's talk about the matchup and why I think I feel good about it. And obviously, the number one reason is quarterback play, right? I mean, if and I want to kind of get your take on this a little bit, but if I had to rank all eight of the quarterbacks right now going into who are left, basically, I might put Bo Nix at 7, and I would put Josh Allen at 1, right? And the only person I would probably put behind Bo Nix is CJ Stroud, just because of the abysmal performance he had last week. Right. I mean, it was absolute. They were trying to give that game away to Pittsburgh last week, right?
Yeah.
And it was not ideal. I mean, no question Matthew Stafford is better than him. No question Caleb is playing way better than him. Um, Brock Purdy looks like $1 million. I don't know about Darnold. I think that defense is really where it's at in Seattle, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And then Drake May. I mean, he's second in MVP voting, and yeah, he looked shaky last week, but I think they're gonna. I mean, I don't know. That's gonna be a tough matchup, and I'm actually kind of excited to talk about that one too. Um, but I mean, we have the edge by a mile. in quarterback play. And yeah, their defense is really, really good, but if they get behind, I don't trust Bo Nix at all. I was looking at their schedule and like some of the games that they've played,
Yep.
and it really like one of the things that was just shocking to me, if you put up more than 20 points on this team, you beat them. You beat them. They were 1-8 over the last two seasons of teams putting up 20 points on them. I thought that was like an incredible stat. So they're going to try and
So
keep the slow scoring, and I think there's no question we can get over 20 points.
so while you're looking at Denver's schedule there from this season, take a look at some of those games. How much did they beat the Jets by?
Let's take a look. Denver.
It's gonna have a couple of quizzes for you here, so pull up their whole schedule.
Let me see here. Denver Broncos schedule
For my,
2025.
it's building to my point here.
Um, let's see here. They beat the Jets by two.
How about the Raiders?
They beat the Raiders by three and by oh, and then that nonsense game in December where the league
Right.
showed that it was
And
fixed.
then how about the Giants?
One.
So I think
That
that
was their
looking
one
at the
win where they were over
schedule,
20 points.
yeah, if that was the one where the Giants blew it. Remember? The Giants were up.
The
So my point,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna say
My
the
point,
only
oh, sorry.
the only blowout that they had all year, and you can't count the preseason, obviously, but they had two games where they won by more than two scores, or by two scores or more. Every other game was within one score. They beat the Cowboys, who have a terrible defense,
Yep.
and the Bengals, who have a terrible defense. Every
Yep.
other team they played this year was one score or less.
Including some terrible teams that they barely beat. What
And you
that
can't
tells
and you
me
can't count the
is
Chargers game technically either, that last game of the season because the Chargers played all
right.
their backups. But I mean
My
they almost blew it to the Chiefs, who were playing without Mahomes. I mean they got blown out by Jacksonville. I mean,
yep.
like what are we looking at here? They actually, I don't know. They just they almost lost to the Giants and the Raiders and the
And the
Jets.
Jets. So my point being by having you look that up and quizzing you on that is tell me this isn't the most beatable number one seed that you've seen in a long time.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they're immensely beatable. I mean, like I don't take them seriously at all. Like just looking at their schedule and like, yeah, Bo Nix threw for a ton of yards, but I mean, do you really trust him? Do you think Sean Payton really trusts him, or does he trust that defense?
Sean Payton Sean Payton's an interesting coach though, because look at where he came from with the offense that he had with Drew Brees originally back in the day. So he was a more of an offensive minded coach. And to see him go into Denver and be more reliant on the defense is a little bit unexpected from him. You know what I mean? So, like you said, though, if the Bills can manage to put up more than 20 points, I don't think that Denver can hang that with them.
I don't
And
either.
I I mean, this whole season was a weird season in regards to what teams did. I mean, look at New England, look at Denver. I think that this is I don't know what I'm trying to describe here. I think parity is a big thing, but if you can get out there and like you said, if we can get some points up on them, and what does Terrence always say? All it takes is two stops.
Yeah, I mean, I am really with you there. I think if we can get a couple of stops, which I think is going to be much easier this week than it was last week because um that is not the offense we played last week at all. Like it is absolutely not the offense we played last week at all. And have to think that this team is going to have a harder time moving the ball up and down the field on us um than Jacksonville. right? Like
And the
Jacksonville's kind of was a lot like us, right? Like they could have moved the ball down the field and score really, really quickly.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't want to give too many props to Nick Wright, but I think he made a very good point when he was like, the winner of that Bills Jags game is probably going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, unless
Is that what he
something,
said?
yeah, unless something crazy happens. Um, how can you not think Josh Allen isn't going to beat this team? Like looking at it from an outside perspective, right? How can you not think Josh Allen isn't going to win this game? How can you not think that Josh Allen isn't going to go into Foxborough again next week and beat the pants off the Patriots? Or, we were one play away with, 17 seconds left of beating the Houston Texans in their building, beating that
Yep.
incredible defense, right? And I mean, it's that like Allen was sacked an unheard of amount of times. That's not going to happen again. They're going to go into that with a completely different game plan. So I don't know. I was very worried last week. I don't want to come across as overconfident, but I'm not as worried this week.
No, not with watching how some of those other games in the A. I mean, even that in the NFC went. Some of these other games were just like that Houston. I mean, even the Houston game and the New England game. I mean, going halfway through the third quarter, both games were tied like 6-3. Like, and that's three quarters into the game. I just I think Buffalo's offense with just Allen is enough to amount to get over those.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. Um, and I think that, and getting to the defense now, right? I think that the defense is going to be able to make some plays against this team. I, I mean, I don't think they're who's their starting running back? Is it RJ Harvey? Is that right?
And Dobbins, right? The two of them.
And J.K. Dobbins, right? And yeah, and they're probably their number one target is Sutton.
Yeah, who is average at
Okay.
best. Like
Yeah, he's
he's not
okay.
super reliable.
I mean, all things considering, with the Bills' mantra of everybody eats, he only had about 300 more yards than Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay. And Bo Nix almost threw for 4,000 passing yards, which is more than Allen, actually. But, James Cook more than doubled the rushing yards that Dobbins had. So
I mean,
I
part of
feel
that
good about
part
I
of
feel
that is
good about
skewed
James
though
Cook.
because yeah, part of that's skewed though because they're a running back by committee team versus what the Bills are, who are more of a single focused one, even though they do
Mhm.
take Cook out. You know who I was thinking about would I'm hoping has a really big game this week is Ty Johnson if he plays.
Mhm.
Not having him last week, I think, was a big hit as well because I don't think as many people give him credit for what he does in the passing game coming out of the backfield. And I think that could be a real big help against Denver too.
Yeah, I would agree. I would absolutely agree. So the line is Denver -1, although this is flip-flopped a couple of times, and the total is 46. I think I think I like the under. I think I like the
Yeah,
Bills to win this game somewhere in the neighborhood of 21 to, I don't know, 14, 24 to 14, maybe. I think the Bills are going to win by more than one score.
I
But
think it's going to be
I don't
20.
know. 46 seems like an awfully high number because I think the
Yeah,
Bills can get there with points. I don't think Denver can score that much on this team, and I think that's what's going to hurt them.
I think it's going to be 24-17. And I think that I would tease taking the Bills with the points, but I would probably tease it out a little bit when I end up placing my bets.
One point is basically a pick 'em, right?
Yeah,
I feel very confident taking the Bills, and I think I like the under. So
I
Denver
did
has a
uh
go ahead.
I did learn last week never to take a team with as huge of a spread as the Rams though, ever
Not in
again.
the playoffs, not in the playoffs, no sir. So Yeah, so yes, this game's coming to you guys on CBS. You are going to have to unfortunately deal with Tony Romo again, which is
Again,
less than ideal. But it'll be Saturday at 4:30 kickoff in Denver, and the weather looks good, around 40 degrees. No precipitation, no wind. Looks like sunshine. So perfect football weather. Unlike what the people in Chicago are going to see. Oh boy, that's going to be rough. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
what are they
So.
expecting?
We'll talk about it when we get to it, but
Okay,
nasty weather.
fun.
So anything final to add to this one before we take a look at the other games?
So I mean, the big thing, like we've been saying, is just it's one game at a time. Just don't look past it and get out there and just do their jobs. I mean, we know they can do it when they have to, and it's always just next man up. So yeah, it sucks they have all the injuries they do, but as long as Allen can stay healthy, and like we said, the Bills can get a healthy running game going, I think that they have a real good shot at advancing to the championship game.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So the night game on Saturday on Fox is the San Francisco 49ers going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, who are also the number one seed in the NFC. San Francisco is a 7-point dog, and the total is 45. Immediately looking at this, San Francisco in the under. 100%. Seattle's not going to blow them out. I think
No,
Darnold is going to see ghosts. And honestly, of all four of the matchups this weekend that could have an upset, this one seems the most likely to me to have an upset. San Francisco has been playing excellent, and Philly has a great defense, and San Francisco beat them. San Francisco just straight beat them. And we don't know how Darnold's going to react. If Darnold reacts the way he did last year in Minnesota, that's going to be one and done for the Seahawks, which I hope not, because, I think out of the NFC, I'm rooting for the Seahawks, but yeah, I don't. I'd be very worried if I was a Seattle fan because that's a very big line.
I mean, you know who I'm rooting for. Um, I think that you're right. It's a big key for this game is going to hinge on Darnold and putting what happened last year out of his mind. I think Seattle's a better team than Minnesota was last year, though. I think Minnesota got lucky a lot last year, and I think Seattle's defense is way better. It's absolutely crazy to me though that we're talking about it being an upset if San Francisco wins when they literally played in the last game of the season for the number one spot in the NFC. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about a game that is putting two top tier competitors against each other, this is it. I mean, and I'm glad that we're getting potentially Seattle, San Francisco, and then either Seattle and the Rams or San Francisco and the Rams. And so
Mhm.
we have the potential to see multiple NFC West rematches. And I don't know what the last time we saw that was, but I think that's pretty cool. I
It's
agree
actually
though. I
quite
think that
incredible, right? Like, it's incredible that
yeah,
there are three teams from one division in the divisional round of the playoffs. I can't think of a time
yep,
that that's ever happened before.
no. I was trying to think about it earlier and I for the life of me could not remember. But I think that you're right with the under. I think that it's two pretty good defenses. I don't think Seattle will win by more than a touchdown. And if my only concern looking at it right on is with San Francisco losing Kittle last week,
That's
going up
rough.
against how good of a defense that Seattle has, I think they need all the scoring people they can. And Kittle is just such a big threat by himself that it was a major loss for them to lose him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a good game though, and I'm sure I expect Purdy to play well. I expect Christian McCaffrey to play well, and it's really, it's really if San Francisco's defense can hold up against, all of those pass catchers for the Seahawks, like JSN, and
Yep.
really it's all, I mean, everything is going to hinge on how Darnold plays, right? I mean, is he going to see ghosts like he did last year, or is he going to, is he going to light it up? I mean, I don't know. Darnold in a big moment. I don't know how I feel about that. yet, right? And
Yep.
that's part of the reason why I'm kind of rooting for Seattle a little bit because I think them, if the Bills make it to the Super Bowl, I kind of want to play the Seahawks because I just frankly don't trust Darnold in that moment. Of all of the other quarterbacks who are left, I think the one I want to see the least is probably Matthew Stafford. But I think the one I want to see the most, truthfully, is probably Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean,
So,
I'm biased, but
but then again, I think the Bills could put up points on the 49ers. So, I'm not super, I'm not super vested in who wins this game. I just want this to be a good game, and I think it will be.
I mean, look at what the Bills did to the Niners last year. Here,
Right, exactly.
that was
So,
the year Allen had a rushing, a passing, and a receiving touchdown.
and it would be cool for San Francisco to get a Super Bowl in their home building.
Yeah,
So, which takes us to the Sunday game, which is the other AFC game at 3 on ABC and ESPN. And that is the Houston Texans going to Foxborough to play the Patriots. The Houston Texans are a 3-point dog, and the line is 40-40 even. Um, that seems low.
yeah.
I, I mean, I know that Nico Collins is injured, and I know that Gonzalez on the Patriots is injured, but is that just assuming that Houston's just not going to score 20 points? Because I kind of think that they're going to score 20 points, and I think they're going to get another defensive touchdown, truthfully. I don't really know where I land on this game. I mean, I'm probably rooting for Houston because I hate the Patriots living in Buffalo, but I could be talked into this game going either way.
I think the Patriots are going to win. I think that they're going to hang around just long enough against that defense, and I think that Drake May of he of the two name nickname is going to be able to do just enough to squeak by him. And I have zero faith in CJ Stroud not trying to give the game away again. I mean, he fumbled the ball what 5 times against the Steelers. I mean, he threw a couple interceptions. Like he's lucky that the Steelers played so bad they made Mike Tomlin quit.
Yeah, I don't know though. I don't know what to expect out of that defense. I feel like that defense is gonna light up Drake May though. I really do. And he did not. I mean, the Chargers defense, they're not world beaters, but I mean, if the Chargers could have just scored a couple of points, they would have won that game,
Oh yeah.
right? I mean, that game was set, what was it, 7-3 or something like that going into the fourth quarter. I mean, if the Chargers could have just
You
done anything, they would have won that game.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Pittsburgh though. If they would have scored off of one of those turnovers, that whole game would have been completely different.
Yeah, because that game was like 7-6 going into the fourth quarter too. So
Yep.
I guess I can see why the line is so low, but I still think it's going to go over 40. I think Houston's going to be able to do enough to get over 20 points, and I could see the score being something like 24-20 Patriots. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't love it, but I think both teams are going to get over 20. So probably Patriots in the over makes a lot of sense here.
That's what I would take.
Yeah. Which takes us to the final game of the weekend, Sunday at 6:30 with Chris Collinsworth on NBC, and that is the Rams visiting the Bears. I was initially and the Rams are favored by 4 right now. And the line is 48 and a half. I was initially going to just be all over the Rams because I don't know how Chicago's defense is going to stop Matthew Stafford, but they're projecting this to be like one of the coldest games of all time.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that. It's gonna be a lot of weather in this game, and it's going to be very, very cold. So I don't know how much of an impact that is going to have on this. If this game was played in a dome, I think the Rams would beat them by 30. But weather, this could probably go either way.
Going to hinge on the running games. I mean, if it's going to be that cold and that gross out there, the Rams are going to need to get Kyron Williams going. They're not going to be able to have their traditional high powered passing attack I mean, if there's anyone who could do it, it's probably Stafford. But I'm also
Mhm.
not, I don't know what's been going on with the Rams over the last few weeks of the season there because they weren't super consistent. And Stafford had a couple games there where he did not look like himself.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see which version of the Rams show up this week. And the Bears, I mean, you got to give the Bears credit. They don't know when to admit when they're out. Like they are scrappy, and as seen in the Packers game, I mean, they can come back. So it should be an
Yeah.
interesting game, especially like you said with the terrible weather.
And how many more fourth quarter comebacks are the Bears going to pull out of their butt? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
seriously, it's like another rabbit out of a hat with them. I just, I think the luck has to run out eventually. I think the
Yep.
Bears are good, but I think they're flawed. And I think if the Bears have to go to Seattle next week, I mean, you know, I think it's a tough road for them. I think this is probably where their season ends, and I think we're very likely going to see another a match. Actually, it kind of makes a lot of sense for the storylines, right? Going into the championship games. Bills Patriots third match, Rams Seahawks third match.
Or even Rams 49ers third match.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense to me, and I think that's a storyline that the NFL would probably very, very, very much like to see. Plus,
Oh yeah, that would
I
be
don't think that Denver and Houston is going to would be a very interesting match for anybody at all. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Outside of those markets, does anybody want to see Denver and Houston? Like, does
no, it would
anybody
be
want to
boring as hell.
does anybody want to see that game? Because that game sounds awful to me.
Our our viewers should chime in and tell us if they have any interest in seeing Denver play Houston.
Like, seriously, I'd love to hear from our commenters, right? Like, do any of you want to see Denver play Houston? I mean, especially if you're not a Bills, I mean, if you're listening to us, you're probably a Bills fan. But like, does anybody out there think Denver Houston would be a good game outside of like people who live there? Because like, if you were to tell me, hell, even like week 17, other than the fact that they both had good records, I don't think I could bring myself to watch that game, which might end up being like 6-3 when it's all done.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know. And which is why I have a feeling, while the league has definitely presented some opportunities to show why it may or may not be fixed this year, I have a feeling the Bills are going to probably get some favorable calls this weekend. And would have a feeling that the Patriots are probably also going to get some favorable calls this weekend.
I don't know. The officiating crew that the game got assigned isn't the most favorable to us.
Well, we'll see. So that is our show. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
We are 3 games away from the big game. We have
Ooh,
two
two.
more, no, including this one. So this one,
Oh,
then the
yeah.
next one, and then the Super Bowl. And I this was supposed to be the Bills' year to make it nice and easy. And in typical Bills fashion, they've done anything but. And I'm just here for the ride and one more game. I just will get that big stop and get us to next week.
Right. One more game, one more win. And I'm gonna follow Terrence's mantra. Just get a couple of stops. Just get a couple of
Yep.
stops and let Superman do the rest. So that is our show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us as always. Smash that like and subscribe button. We do appreciate it. And let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think the final score is going to be? And do you think the Bills make it to the big conference championship game next weekend, which will probably be the Sunday 3 o'clock game next weekend? And we'll probably get Tony Romo again.
Oh
So,
God.
yeah. So with that, thank you guys so much for joining us as always. Have yourselves a fantastic evening and enjoy the weekend of NFL football and take care.